and we're making sure the connection is available. Yep, it's on. We are live. It's good to see everyone. We'll give everyone a minute or two to log on, and hopefully, quite a few of you saw the the post on Rachel's picture on her post of Rachel and I introducing Dr. D here, and our crazy filters and all that kind of stuff we were wearing. So, you know, Dr. D and I aren't going to do that kind of stuff. No. We don't roll like that. Hi, Amy. How are you? So we'll give everyone just a minute or two, but we're going to talk about overcoming obstacles, yep. You know, getting past these negative thoughts. Yep. There's a methodology behind it. Am I right? There's steps to take to get beyond these things that hold you back, and those are the things we want to talk about. It's more than just the power of positive thinking. I think I can.
That's right.
We're not the choo-choo train. That's right. You have to put things in place, and we'll take a minute or two and review what we discussed last week. But we're going to stick to our points this week, and we'll do about 30 minutes, okay, and about 10-15 minutes of questions right after. And I'm going to load up here so that I have us on here so that I can see the questions that you may have. But it's good to see you guys. They're starting to come on now.
Welcome back.
Yeah, I see you.
I'm excited to do it again.
I know we had a lot of good feedback last week, so a lot of good people. Go ahead, my friend, take it. Review what we talked about last week. Well, let me turn this off here. Turn that off there.
All right.
Kind of review what we talked about last week, and let's roll.
Yeah, so the quick review is we talked about overcoming obstacles, and some of the ingredients to do that was to have a positive mindset. Mm-hmm. And talking about how a positive mindset helps us move forward, yeah, and not being stuck in setbacks, yeah, or knowing that there are obstacles, or just letting obstacles that you perceive to be too difficult to overcome.
Yeah.
That obstacles, I'm going to talk about this later, that we're going to see obstacles. I would like people to see obstacles and setbacks as a detour. No different than when you're on the highway.
That's good.
Right? So when you're on the highway, it's closed, yep, and you still got to get from one destination to the other, mm-hmm, that you're going to have to divert off, get off at a different road, get off at a different exit ramp, and make a detour so you can still get to where you want to be. We don't want you to sit and see a challenge and say, well, I just need to go back home. Yeah. We don't want that, right? So what we want to do is look at, and what we did look at last week was the power of positive thinking, and then having that desire, a burning desire to actually want to accomplish something.
Oh, that's good.
So that you can get through those difficult times.
Yeah.
Because you will need desire to get through difficult times. And we talked about supports, having positive supports in our life. We talked about the concept of iron sharpening iron, and being in communication or in commune with other people that are like-minded, right? And that is very important. Yeah. You know, so in a nutshell, that's what we talked about last time. But desire was important. We know that setbacks occur, but positive thinking helped us overcome those obstacles, because we're all going to face them. They're going to be there in life. They're going to show up, and they may show up before you even pursue your goal. Because we know that when we pursue certain goals or set some type of project in mind or goal in mind, that we can quickly think about why we want to accomplish it. Yeah. Right? And then those become obstacles before you even start, or challenges before you even start. But positive thinking, having supports, utilizing your supports, and having a desire to overcome those difficult times when they
I'm wondering, Doc, are they really, they're obstacles, but are they really obstacles in the sense of you wear a pair of shoes, they get wore out. Okay. The tires in your car get worn out, and you have to change them. The oil in your car gets broke down, and the viscosity gets all broken down, and you have to change your oil every 3,000 miles. is it not just part of life? And the reason I say that is that too many of us can use it as an excuse.
Okay.
I've got this challenge here.
Okay.
And maybe we can look at it in both aspects, is
Okay.
that there are serious obstacles that you got to overcome.
Okay.
But there's also obstacles that are just, it's cold outside.
Okay.
And they tell me it's supposed to rain and freeze and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But that didn't deter me from coming.
Okay.
That didn't deter us from starting here. So I want to encourage you to pay attention right now, because we'll address it from both sides. Is that you've got real obstacles that can hold you back.
That's right.
And there are just certain things that you just gotta do.
That's
you
true.
gotta wake up. When the
You gotta
alarm
wake
clock
up.
goes off,
That's right.
you gotta wake up.
Right.
And some of us use these things as excuses, and we don't want to use them as excuses. We want to be able to say, you know what, this is a part of life.
Right. So let's take that part about waking up. When I get out of bed, how do I feel?
Come on.
Does my day
Come
does
on.
my day already suck? Because I'm thinking, oh, I gotta go to work. I gotta put gas in the car. I'm
Come on.
gonna be there for 8 hours, right?
Yeah.
So we're thinking on all of those negative things, right?
Right there.
Instead of getting out of bed and saying, today's gonna be an awesome day.
Yeah.
Today's gonna be a great day. And even though that I'm thinking today's gonna be a great day, I'm not blind to the fact that something may pop up
That's right.
that will challenge my day.
That's right.
So, yeah, it happened this morning. Somebody flipped me off. And somebody shot me the bird this morning. I don't know, it was my fault in terms of where I was driving, but someone shot me the bird after I dropped my wife off at the airport. And we were going the same way. And I immediately thought, okay, I'm right behind this guy. I'm going to pull up next to him. And I said, wait a minute. I'm getting caught up in something. Let me just slow down. I said I was going to have a good day.
Right.
I'm not going to let this ruin my day. Something
Right.
that simple, that quick, can change your day.
Right.
In a heartbeat.
Right.
A bad text, something could happen. But it's about preparing yourself mentally. I believe that is truly the heart of getting through tough times, is the preparation to say, all right, here's some difficulties. Here's how I'm going to overcome it. It's hard to overcome it at that moment in time because emotions take over. And we're going to talk about that later.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, you got a question right there. Read that while I talk right now. Is that on the way to work, you run into traffic. Okay? Now, Rachel loves Waze. I don't know if you use Waze to navigate and all that kind of stuff, but it tells you what's going on. It tells you, I'll get that later, honey. It tells you when there's traffic and all that kind of stuff. So, the Bible helps you do in this way, and there's also techniques that you can put, methods that you can put in place that will have that will help you, that will get you through the situation that you're in, so you become everything that you're supposed to become.
Okay.
I'm gonna go flip on a light. They're telling me I need to go flip on a light, so you run it from there. Let's start hitting our points.
Okay.
So that we stay on track. But I'm gonna
Okay.
get this light on.
So, got a question, a statement about life lessons and being on the journey that you're on. And that journey, wherever it may be, whether you're moving to a different state or you have taken on a new job, and you have life experiences. And those life experiences that you have had are also serve as assets and benefits as long as you think of them as things that helped you and will help you move forward to something else that you might take on. And that becomes part of your journey. It actually becomes a part of your entire story. Because we can't remove things that happened in the past, but they can't, and if they're negative, we can't allow them to dictate how we function in the future.
Yeah.
But if we use them as lessons on our journey, then they become part of our entire story. It's like chapters in a book.
Yeah. The other part of it is that the good, bad, and the ugly make us who we are.
That's interesting. Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
it makes us who we are.
Absolutely.
So, what we have to be careful of is we want to make sure we don't have the ugly.
Okay.
All right, and we don't want the bad.
Okay.
If we can avoid a traffic jam, let's avoid a traffic jam. However, when life throws us a curveball, how do we use positive thinking to help us get through it and not say, you know what, life sucks for us. I got this problem in my life, and it's all over. We got to be able to turn, if I can use this old statement, if you're given lemons, make it into lemonade.
Okay.
You know,
Right.
my grandparents, they lived in Florida, and they had a lemon tree in their backyard.
Okay.
And I would go pick a lemon,
Okay.
and they would have water, lemon,
Okay.
and sugar.
Okay.
You gotta make it sweet. You gotta
Okay.
make it sweet. And that's your positive thinking right there. And he'll break it down better than I will. But my plain Jane way of seeing it is that you gotta add that sugar to make it something that's enjoyable.
Yep.
So that traffic jam that you run into, flip on a good radio station. Think on something that's going to help you feel better about that day. Maybe that traffic jam, you know, I don't believe in coincidences because I believe in the hand of God. Maybe that traffic jam helps you avoid an accident. There are so many things we can think about, but that power of positive thinking, run with that so we can get to our points here.
So take the challenge. The challenge is whatever detour you might face, right? Maybe the challenge is the lesson.
That's good.
Challenge
That's
is
good.
not the end result. There's a lesson in why I have to go a different way or think differently.
Yep.
Because it's going to happen.
Yep.
So if I still want to get somewhere, you still have to have action.
Yeah.
Right? So let's get into real quick about negative noise, the noise of negative thinking.
Come on.
Right? What do they sound like? And they happen from as young as children to adults. I can't. Not me.
Yeah.
I'm not good, right? It becomes a form of almost self-brainwashing, right? We talked last time about how we can form habits. I have certain habits in the morning that I do in terms of how I get dressed and all that type of thing. And there's a certain pattern of thinking. Same thing happens in a pattern of behavior, but there's a certain pattern of thinking that becomes repetitious. And if it becomes negative, then the automatic thought is negative.
Yeah.
The automatic thought is negative. When someone presents something to you that you see as a challenge, the automatic thought, if you're not careful, will become negative. The next thing you know, you're not doing something that maybe you should just try.
Yeah.
You should just try. You just don't know how it's going to come out. So you got, I can't, not me, I'm not good. I challenge everybody. If you have a piece of paper, pen and paper, later on tonight, or even now if you got time. And I have clients that I work with all the time. And I ask them to list their positive attributes. List them down in 30 seconds. List as many positive attributes as they can in 30 seconds. Then after they do that, I give them another 30 seconds, and now I want you to think all the negative things that you think about yourself.
Yeah.
And what will happen.
Yeah.
My challenge to you is for you to have more positive thoughts of things that you're good at than negative. And you have to consciously, and what I want you to be aware of is how conscious you have to think about the positive things you have to write. Because most people, at least in my case that I work with, because they come to my clinic because they have distortions in how they think. They think negative. So they will tend to have a list that is 2 to 3 times longer than their a negative list.
Yeah.
That's 2 to 3 times longer than their positive list
Yeah.
about themselves. Yeah, it's and then they look at it, they're like, wow, and it's an eye opener.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's rehearsing that
Yes.
good stuff. What's interesting is that when it comes to religion, that statement, I'm a practicing this. I'm a practicing Catholic. I'm a practicing Christian. I'm practicing. It's that rehearsing, that constant rehearsing. What is good in my life?
Okay.
I've got to rehearse that. I've got
Yes,
to
you do.
practice that
Yes, you do.
over and over and over so
right.
that I can live it. I can live it. You know, we're both parents.
Yes.
You know, we're not great at being parents.
I'm always evolving.
We're always evolving. You know what? It's not until, you know, the kids are gone that you look back and think, you know what, I could have done this right. I could have done this a little bit differently.
That's right.
But you're rehearsing, and you have friends that you rely on.
Yeah.
You watch webcasts like you're watching now, and you bounce these ideas off, and you wrestle with what's going on inside your mind and inside your heart, and you rehearse the good things.
That's right.
And this is what we want to encourage you: is rehearse the good things in your life. What is good? Take the bad things, extract the lessons you need to learn, and then rehearse what's going on. And you know what's interesting about noise is that, I don't know about you, but we go to sleep with noise.
I do too.
Yeah.
I have a fan on.
See, you have a fan
Some
on.
people call it white noise. Whatever. I have a
White
fan
noise,
on.
yeah.
That's right. Okay.
We used to go to sleep to oceans. I don't know how many you go to sleep to that sound of the ocean. Whoosh, whoosh. Christine, I seen you're on right now. You live by an ocean, so that's cheating. Okay, we gotta buy sounds that have ocean. Sister Lil, I see you're on. Hello, it's good to see you. But you got that sound on. There's some sounds that are good. There are some sounds that are distracting because they help you sleep.
I can tell you this: negative thoughts are very distracting, and we know that they can increase stress, increase high blood pressure, have all these ill effects on our body. But one of the things that really don't allow us to do, they don't allow us to rest. Because when you try to go to sleep, you got these negative thoughts going through your head. You got to you want to shut it off, like just shut up. That's I truly mean that this is a behavior that has to be engaged. How do I shut this off? And you said something about rehearsing. We didn't just say, oh, just stop thinking negatively. Because it's hard to just stop it. You have to rehearse. Rehearse is a form of replacement. Replacing a negative thought with a positive thought. No different than a baseball player who's coming up to the bat. You play baseball. Coming up to bat, and maybe he struck out 2 or 3 times because the pitcher has an awesome curveball, right? But, hey, the Chips, they're down. We're in the 9th inning. I would rather a kid who struck out 3 times who's coming and say, Coach, I'm gonna hit the ball. And I say, listen, I want you up at bat because at least you're thinking positive and you're preparing yourself. Let me say something real quick that I want to share with everybody. Every action is preceded by a thought, no matter how quick, no matter how delayed. Every action is preceded by a thought. You open your door. You know why you open your door? Because you think about opening it.
That's good.
You know why you get out of bed? Because you think about getting out of bed. The reason why you drank that water is because you thought about, I need a sip of water. Right? So if we're not careful, depending on what thoughts you have, it can paralyze you before you even know it. Right? You can be sitting at home for 10 hours because you're sad, you're depressed, and you're not doing things to move yourself forward because you thought, you know what, I'm not going to do much today. I'm just going to sit around. I'm just going to, I did enough yesterday. But before you know it, you're doing it 2 or 3 days in a row. Every action is preceded by a thought. And how powerful for that thought to be positive than negative, depending on what you're doing. Even if it just means getting out for a second. I read a story, I can't remember the reference point, Psychology Today, about a man who was so depressed. He had been in his house for about 9 months, didn't come out. Doctors were coming to him, and he read the book I referenced last week, The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. Right? So he's decided he was going to concentrate on one thing a day. And the thing he started concentrating on, one thing was, okay, I'm alive. And then he said, okay, I'm going to get dressed. And then it just blossomed. He stopped thinking about the negative things. Did they creep in at times? Absolutely they did.
Right.
But the positive thoughts began to overshadow the negative thoughts. Right? So his days were looking better. His perspective was looking better. Right? So that was, and he got to a point. He got back to his job. It took him a couple months because we tend to fall back on things that become habitual, that we become used to. Maybe a setback. Maybe he got a negative note in the mail or a negative text. Those things that will just swing us back to where we were, right? For whatever reason. Maybe you get an unexpected bill. You don't have a lot of finance. You're like, okay, here we go. Why did I even try? You try because you want to live. You want to live differently. You don't want to be stuck. Being stuck is an awful spot, especially if you're not feeling great about it.
One technique that I use is that time doesn't wait. Time doesn't wait for me. So if I'm sitting in my lazy boy,
Okay.
and I'm thinking about all this negative stuff that's going on in my life,
Okay.
good things are happening outside.
Okay.
Bad things are happening outside,
Okay.
but good things are happening. I got friends that are enjoying life while I'm sitting inside.
That's right.
You know what? We were sitting in here just before we got going, and behind us in the window was a possum. A possum.
That was kind of.
It was kind of funky seeing a possum.
I was kind of concerned about that.
I mean, big pink tail and all that kind of stuff. And what amazed me as we were watching that thing was that life is operating despite the fact that we're on a webcam right now.
That's right.
You know, just because you're going through something doesn't mean the world stops.
That's right.
Grab onto the things that are working around you. And this is what I love about the Word of God, is that God is all-knowing. He's omnipresent. He's always there. So there's always something going on. So between God and my friends, I can pick up a phone and say, you know what, Doc? You know what? I'm spoiled because I got you in my life.
Yes.
I can say, you know what? You know what? I'm just not feeling good today, man. I'm a mess today. And you know what he's going to tell me? He's not even going to use his doctor stuff on me. He's going to say, you know what? Get up. Yeah. You know, life is all right. There's more to it. And I want to encourage you.
That's right.
There's more to it.
I have a very close friend, and he went through a very difficult time, 20-some-odd years ago, right? And I know how quickly we can get stuck on things. And they lost a child. They lost a child. And before I knew it, he was in the house a lot. He wasn't running. He wasn't doing his normal thing at the gym and things of that nature. And sometimes we need someone just to grab us.
Yeah.
We need a positive person to come and say, you know what? Come get me.
Yep.
I need to talk to you. Just fill me with positivity.
Yeah.
And I say that in the most sincere way because at the time, even though he was having a hard time, we had to pour in love into him to replace the negative thoughts he was having and how down he felt, right? And I took him back to something that I knew that he loved, and that was running. I went over to his house and said, I think it might have been snowing outside. I don't want to exaggerate, but it was 2 or 3 inches of snow. I said, let's go. He said, where are we going? I said, I don't know. We're just going to go for a run. And we went for, I guess, our one and only prayer run that we had.
Right.
He felt better after. I don't know how long it took, but you know, I knew he needed something different. So we got to realize that when we start thinking about things that are negative when we get stuck, what I want you to do is think about a mantra. A mantra is like a saying, something you say over and over again, right? So I want to talk about a tool that you can use to shut out noise. So we already kind of talked about it. You take something that's positive to replace something that's negative. You know, so I may date some of you. I'm going to date myself. We used to have this TV show called ABC After School Special. Remember that? Right? And there was this TV show. Yeah. One of the series was this kid named Duffy Moon. Duffy Moon couldn't do anything. And he's with Channing. Remember it? I know I can. I think I can. I know I can. Something like that, right? And I found myself as a kid thinking, you can do it, Duffy Moon. You can do it. So anyway, I mean this with all sincerity. A mantra is something that you just keep repeating. Even if it's just as simple as I can. I will do it. And not just the mental state, but I can do it, and this is how I can do it, right? You will start feeling stronger about yourself because guess what you're not thinking about? How you can't do it.
Yeah.
Think about how you can, what you need to do it, who do you need in your life to help you. Things are those things. And then your whole perspective just changes, right? I don't mean to just be this happy-go-lucky person and you're just thinking foolishly. Think seriously about how you can do it and add other supports to your life to do it, right? And some people feel funny about a mantra, but guess what? You already have a mantra. And that mantra is I can't.
That's right.
That mantra is I'm not good enough. You already have the mantra. Now you gotta
people think they don't want to get into that psychobabble.
It ain't psychobabble.
It ain't psychobabble because you already do it.
You already do it. You're already doing it. Now you're just exercising a different way of thinking because guess what you're going to change? Now I'm going to get a little bit deep.
Come on.
But I know the folks out there can handle
Yep,
it.
yep,
And
yep.
that is, you will change your brain cells.
Yeah.
You can change your brain cells. And as you change your brain cells, you change the way your quick response
Yeah.
to things that are positive instead of things that are negative. Just like that. Now, not just like that. It takes practice. It takes practice to do it, to do it, to do it, to do it. And I used to say, I'm gonna have a good day. I'm gonna have a good day today. I'm gonna have a good day. I'm gonna have a good day. I'm gonna have a good day. And this is how I'm gonna have a good day.
Yeah.
This is how I'm gonna have a good day.
Yeah. That mantra, I heard someone say this, and it was real good. You know, there's some questions there. This was real good. Was that, you know, we have that tendency to put things on a post-it note and put it on your refrigerator, or maybe put it in your mirror in your bathroom and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But you know what? I heard what this guy said. He said, you know what? He said, brain cells. He said, you guys are messing with me right now. You're messing with the way I'm thinking right now. But you know what he said to do? Is that not only did he write out his goals in the morning and his mantra, is that he would write it in the middle of his day, and he would write it right before he went to bed, so that he would remember it. And then he said anytime that he went through a struggle during the day, he would rewrite it just so it would encourage himself.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Keep doing it. What is your current mantra? What is the
That's right.
current thing you're telling yourself over and over? And Doc said it. Dr. D already said it earlier. He said, write down the positive stuff in your life, but take 2 minutes. And what's that thing that's trained you to think the way that you've been thinking? That negative way. What has trained you? What do you keep telling yourself? I'm fat. I'm ugly. I don't have no discipline. I can't do any of this stuff. And he already talked about a few of those already. So what we want to do is, what is that negative mantra? And cancel it. And you already talked about this. Cancel it with some positive stuff.
That's right. That's right. You got to replace it. You got to replace it, right? Guess what happens when you empty a jar of water? It's empty. It's not in it.
Yep.
You got to replace it with something else.
Yep.
Right? So the other thing I want to talk about is, because we got a couple minutes left before we start fielding some questions.
Let me throw that in.
Okay.
If you have some questions, throw them in there. In a few minutes, we're going to start wrapping up our portion, and we're going to answer some questions. We're going to spend 10, 15 minutes on answering some questions, but go ahead.
Okay, so what I want to do is talk about is how to overcome it, right?
Yeah.
So is seeing how to overcome setbacks, right? We already talked about one earlier. See it as a detour. Not as an end, not as it's over, but just as a detour.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And sometimes you come to the conclusion that, you know what, maybe I take a different route and do something differently.
Yep.
But it's not an end all, and it's not a I lost a train of thought. I'll come back to that in a second. It's not a it doesn't define you. Okay? Just because you have a setback, it doesn't define you as a failure. That's what
good.
you got to get out of.
That's
right?
good.
So here's another one. Setbacks, they are emotional. Last week I talked about the GPA problem I had when I was my freshman year in college, right? Understand it is an emotional response because you feel bad.
Yeah.
Again, it doesn't define you, but, deal with it. Like, wow, that's hard.
Yeah.
That's hard. It's a reality that we face. Some things we're not always going to accomplish, right? So, but again, it doesn't define you.
No.
But guess what? I read this the other day. I was doing some reading online. I can't remember the author's name, but it has to do with doing something with that emotion that maybe you're mad, maybe you're upset, maybe you feel like you've been overlooked for a job or just overlooked, period. You don't get the credit for certain things. Use that same emotion with that setback to fuel you.
That's good.
To make more progress or to do something different or move in a different direction. Let it just come through as, you know what, this will not happen to me again, right? And I said that in my fourth year when I graduated, when I didn't get recognized as an academic All-American, I said, never again. This will never happen to me again. Use that emotion to fuel you forward.
Yep.
And you'll that passion will come through when you face another setback. Let's do one more, and that is have a realistic plan of how you're going to move forward. Right?
Yep.
Not just hoping that something's going to happen. Hope, okay, fine. That starts things off. You hope to be successful, but you better have an action with it. have some realistic plans, some realistic goals, and get some supports to help you. That way, this thing is not just magical. You can actually just live it out. And then when you get there, right, play on words, it's going to feel magical. Give me some. Was that all?
That's right.
Was that good?
That nail right on the top of the head. You got to have that plan. You know, it reminds me of a story. Rachel and I were coming from Detroit, and if we got a lot of folks from the area here, but when you start going by the airport, there's 6 lanes. And so what happened was I never stopped to help somebody if my family's in the car. It's just a rule of thumb because safety issues. By myself, I'll stop. Well, something told me to stop because I saw this car over and I saw 2 or 3 people standing outside. And Rachel was in the car with me. And it was 6 lanes to get across to get some help. She pulled over all the way in the far left. I pulled over and I got out of the car and I said, it was a woman and she had 3 daughters with her. I said, you know, ma'am, I can help you, but man, this is just a bad place to be stuck. And you got to have some sort of plan, you know. Call a tow truck, and she didn't have tow coverage or anything like that. But her plan was to go with us. And I told her, you know, my wife's in the car, and, you know, just to make her feel a little comfortable. She was 8 months pregnant.
Wow.
And she was getting ready to run across 6 lanes of highway so she could go get some help. You got to have a plan.
That's right.
You got to have a plan.
Got to have a plan.
You know, and this lady, she didn't have a plan. The backup plan, God will send somebody. Somebody will come to help you. But if you get broke down on a freeway, and this is my point was, you don't just sit there.
That's right.
You got to get moving. Whether you call a tow truck or you wave somebody down, you cannot sit on the freeway.
That's right.
Life is going to pass you by. And not only that, the noise of life driving by you. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
That's right.
Not good sound effects, but you get the point. Cars zipping by you.
You know what my brother told me one time? My brother Nate, he lives in North Carolina. He said to me one time, he likes to invent stuff and work on stuff. And he told me one time, if you don't do it, somebody else will. I said, wow. So I have sat and watched people go by and do things that I wanted to do. And I knew I could do that, but I wasn't doing it.
Yeah.
I said, I got to have some action, right?
Yep.
So when you're facing a setback, that wasn't so much a setback for me. That was more of a epiphany, if you will. You know, so I realized I can't sit back anymore and just wait. So if you need to be, if you've gone through a journey, and things are not going well, sometimes you do have to slow down a little bit, be patient, reevaluate, and then keep on trucking through. Somebody mentioned here about how can we get past our rainy season from being depressed and being blessed. There's so much that rain has to offer.
Come on, go on.
Yeah, it does. It has a lot to offer. In its true sense, it's going to nourish. It's going to nourish the ground. It's going to nourish the grass. It's going to nourish flowers. It's going to nourish the earth, right? So the question is, all right, yeah, you can't see the rainy season as being depression. Maybe see it as a detour. See it as something you're uncomfortable with, but you don't want to stay in.
But you know,
and you got to make. I'm telling you, you got to make a declaration about that, because depression will set you back so far. It'll keep you out of bed. It'll keep you in bed. It'll keep you from concentrating. It'll keep you turning things inward about how things are not good. And you got to start recognize how things are good. Because guess what? You said it, in the rainy season, the season only lasts so long. Part of it is that season that you're going to allow yourself mentally to say, you know what, I'm just going to chill out for a little bit, but not being depressed in it. Actually saying, all right, I understand it's a setback. It doesn't feel good, but realize that I still have to think positive. It's going to end soon. Even if that's your mantra, this will end soon. And the reason why it's going to end soon because I'm going to think differently and do differently.
Let me throw this idea out.
We better get some questions soon.
I know. Well, that's one. That's one we're answering right now. Okay, let me throw this out a little bit. Is that getting through that rainy season, Those are some good techniques. I'm wondering if we can throw another technique in there, is to tell ourselves not to be selfish, because that rain is going to nourish that farmer's crop that's going to feed his family one day. Snow, okay? Snow. I used to love snow.
Okay.
I'm from
You
Michigan.
better than me.
I used to love snow.
Okay.
But now, every time it snows heavy, I think kids aren't going to go to school. I got to pay someone to plow. It becomes... So for a landscaper, I know a lot of landscapers, and during winter, that's how they make a living.
Right. Okay.
So it's
Okay,
selfish
all right.
for me to say, Doc, I don't want it to snow at all.
Right.
Somebody's not going to eat.
Okay.
So when it's raining outside, it is snow. When we had our polar vortex, never heard that in my life until just a few years ago.
That was cold.
But when it gets that cold, someone is making money.
Okay.
When it's snowing, someone. So maybe one technique is what you were saying, and another technique, and this is what I use sometimes, is that when I say, you know what, I'm going through a hard time, I think to myself, I'm going to go through this hard time, but I need to learn a lesson so that one day I can help somebody else.
Awesome.
So one day, this rainy season, Gary, that I'm going through in my life, this snow season that I'm going through in my life is going to put crops in my storage so that I can feed somebody one day. So that's one technique that I use, is that I tell myself, I can't stay in bed. I'm selfish if I stay in bed. My kids need me.
That's right.
I got to get out of bed. My kids need me.
That's right.
So that's one technique that I use to get myself to overcome depression, to overcome anxiety.
That's right. That's right. I like it. So, someone says in everything give thanks. That's right. They're absolutely right. Even though I may be quick to say, this is awful, right? This is awful. So I take the times when I was, last week when it was really cold, I forced myself to get outside. Now, I might have looked like the abominable snowman because I had all my snowsuits and everything, but I had to get out because getting outside to me is really, it's therapeutic for me because I like the fresh air. Even though it's hard to breathe in that fresh air, I liked it. So I found something positive in it, and that is important. Someone said, so I want to thank who said that about giving thanks, because that is important to do. Even though you may not want to, you may not feel like it, it is important. It will change your life just that quick. Yeah. It's very important. I want to also challenge everybody too to also. I talked about the list your positive versus negative attributes, but I also want you to write yourself a personal letter about how you see yourself and how you want to impact other people. Because then you're going to really, truly see the sense of value you have in yourself. Because when we start impacting other people, we change their lives as well. So there's a lot out there for us to do.
We're not by ourselves. We aren't by ourselves. We are plugged into somebody. We feed somebody. Yeah. It's an ecosystem. I love The Lion King. I love the movie The Lion King. When I would preach, I would come out to the Rafiki song, and it would end with, "It is time." It is time to get out of bed. It is time to encourage yourself. And we talked about this last week, about David putting the ephod over himself and encouraging himself. Listen, guys, sometimes we're encouraging you right now. And you can read stuff that is encouraging. You can have your pastor, you can have your psychologist, your therapist encourage you. But there are times where you just got to suck it up and say, you know what? I got to encourage myself. I got to get out of the house. I got to put that smile on. Rehearse the good things.
Absolutely.
I got to put a smile on. I've got to think about the good things that have happened in my life, and I just got to rehearse them.
That's right.
Rachel and I couldn't have kids. 7 years. 7 years. So when I get down and out and I think, things aren't going good, in the middle of the night, I'm up all night long. And I just go to each kid's room. I got 4 now.
Wow.
I go to each kid's room and I think, God, thank you. We were praying for that one and he showed up. God, thank you for that one. We got to the point, Doc, that I had to say, God, shut the spigot off. Turn it off, man. I got 4 kids. I got plenty of kids. But go find your blessing. Go find the thing that puts a smile on your face.
Yeah,
Let me tell you something. You are not by yourself.
No.
And you have good things in your life.
Yeah.
Find the good things in your life. Write them
absolutely,
down.
absolutely. You have to see the things that are in your life that are good, because they'll ruin you. If you don't see your wife as good, if you see someone in your life as a headache, what do we do with people that we see as a headache? We avoid them. We avoid them. Find that 1, 2, 3, 4 things that we find positive in your helpmate, even your employee. Because guess what? You're getting a service. You're providing a service. They're paying you for it. Find something positive. I would hate to be miserable on my job. So think on those things that are positive. It's just awesome. You know, I got a comment here from my supervisee, Xana. She talked about this, the technique of using Socratic questioning as a way of thinking about yourself and looking at yourself and having a theme to how you see yourself. But again, I'm going to challenge people. Write a letter. Write a letter to yourself, a personal letter about who you are, what you love about yourself, what you like about yourself, and how you want to impact people. It'll change the way it'll become a testimony in life and things that you can do. But you got to really concentrate on it.
That's good. We got a couple more minutes. And I want to I'll give Doc the last word, but I want to kind of jump on that, writing the positive things down for you believers that are watching out there, is that to share the gospel is to share your testimony, is to write down what God has done in your life, how you have changed, and how you've become who you've become. And once you put that down, it's not only a tool to share your faith, but it's a tool to encourage you. I could go, we got 2 minutes left here. I could go over and over and over of all the good things because I rehearse them in my life. Write them down so that you can see them and rehearse them in your life, and use a technique. Use one of the techniques that we talked about. I write my goals down 2 or 3 times in a day. I write 2 or 3 times in a day what's going on good in my life so that it overcomes that negative thought.
That's right.
Retrain yourself.
Yeah. The other thing I want to say is one of my other favorite movies is, I think it's called Pay It Forward. Powerful movie in terms of doing things, you know, for other people. It's and I want you to think about how you can help other people, because it's not just about us, not just about me. We live in a world with millions of people.
Yeah.
And I think, man, if I wasn't, again, you asked me a question last week about why do I do this? Because I want to reach more people.
Yep.
I want to be able to impact other people, and that's part of my potential, is to do better at what I do, reach more people, and then it just makes me happy. I can't tell you. I woke up this morning like, okay, here we go. We're going to do it again tonight. We're going to do it again tonight, and be patient. Be patient, because obstacles will come your way. Challenges will come your way. It's kind of like the natural order of things in life. But be patient. Oh boy. Rich Man, Poor Man is the book. Somewhere, I think in the 2nd or 3rd chapter, it talks about it's called Six. What's the author's name?
Kiyosaki. Robert Kiyosaki.
Okay.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
No, I'm thinking something different.
Okay, different book.
Yeah. Oh, Think Rich. Something.
Think and Grow Rich. Napoleon Hill.
Thank you, Napoleon Hill. Think and Grow Rich. There's a story in that book about a man who there were these what would people call that were looking for gold back in California years ago. Prospectors. Okay, they were going to find gold, right? Yep. So they got these machines and they came across this fault. They were digging for gold, right? They came across this fault line in the earth, and it became too difficult for them, right? And they were told that gold was in this particular area, and they dug there for years and years and years, and they for months. They couldn't find it. Well, this gentleman went back, he bought the land, he sold the land to this guy from Maryland. He said, I'll sell it to you. The guy bought it. He hired some people, some engineers, to dig in that same land that he bought from this guy, this prospector, and he asked him to find it. He said, "You're close, but you're not there. There's fault lines in the way." He said, "But give me some more tools." They got some more tools. Come to find out, the original prospector was only 6 feet from gold.
Come on.
He was only 6 feet. If he'd have just stayed with it, and maybe, and in this case, get some more tools, get some more resources, he would have hit gold. So I'm here to tell you, you're going to work hard, you're going to push hard, and then you may think that you're not going to reach your goal. Don't give up. Keep pushing. It may be that next step that you do, the next task or the next resource that you find. Right beyond that might be what you're trying to accomplish. So don't give up.
Don't give up.
Yeah, be patient, work hard.
We will be
Keep
here
pressing on. Absolutely.
every Tuesday at 10 o'clock. Every Tuesday at 10 o'clock. If you have questions, shoot them to the Facebook page. Message us, DM us, Limitless Life, and we'll get it right to Dr. D. We're working on getting his stuff set up so you can contact him. 10 o'clock every Tuesday. Be encouraged. It is possible for you to make it and become everything that you're supposed to be.
Absolutely.
And so, thanks for watching.
My goal for next week, have Facebook. I don't have Facebook yet. My goal is to have my Facebook.
We're bringing them into the 21st century.
So,
We're pulling them in. We're pulling them in. God bless you. Thank you for watching. You guys sleep well. Hopefully you got something out of this and your life is better because of it.
I did.
All right.
Have a great night.
Take care.
Thanks for listening and looking.